Paramount has put a pause on all things Star Trek, but the cause continues on, at least according to Kurtzman, who destroyed the thing. He says now it's all about the message. It's all about today. It's all about the present, the presence of propaganda where no franchise has gone before. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is a pleasure as ever to have you endeavor with us to explain entertainment. The Culture Curve, we keep you ahead of that. And folks, with that, let's dive into today's content. Consider clicking the like button, drop a comment down below, join a community dialogue, and the Kurtzman era might be coming to an end, but he's sending his dearest regards to everybody who refuses to watch the garbage on Paramount Plus. Kurtzman Star Trek has destroyed the franchise. Paramount is done with it. And now it's time to tell us why we're wrong all along. Marvin Montanaro over at geeksandgamers.com has this one. Check it out. It says Alex Kurtzman lectures the audience about the message of Star Trek at the Saturn Awards. Wish they'd send him on to Neptune. The legendary sci-fi franchise Star Trek was officially inducted into the Hall of Fame at the 2026 Saturn Awards, a recognition meant to celebrate the legacy of creator Gene Roddenberry and the cultural impact his vision has had for nearly 6 decades. So why did they invite Kurtzman? I don't know. Instead, the moment ended up highlighting exactly why so many longtime fans believe the franchise has lost its way. Accepting the award on behalf of the franchise was current Trek overseer Alex Kurtzman, a figure widely criticized by fans for steering the franchise into a drastically different creative direction during the Paramount Plus era of Trek television. And rather than focusing on Roddenberry's hopeful vision for humanity's future, Kurtzman used the stage to once again emphasize what he describes as the message. Let's go down. Let's see what he had to say. Kurtzman, this is his speech right here. We'll play it. I don't know if they'll try to ding us, but you know what? Here it is. Here's Kurtzman, everybody.
Gene Roddenberry had this lightning bolt of an idea, and I think he understood something fundamental about the nature of science fiction and genre storytelling, which is that science fiction is not really about the future, it's about now.
You know, I'm going to say that's probably not true. I'm going to say that a show about the future, it might be about modernity to some level, but it's also got to be about the future. Lauren, I'm going to give you the first handle on this one. What do you think about it? The message rings loud and clear, the modern message.
I agree. That's what he's done with current Trek. I actually am going to kind of agree with what he said there, though. Usually, science fiction is used to talk about subjects that might be a societal taboo. I think the very first science fiction story that we could talk about is Frankenstein, Mary Shelley, and that was talking about a lot of issues that at the time that it came out would have been considered a societal taboo. So putting it in a fictional setting allowed them to talk about things that they otherwise might not have. That's not to say that science fiction is only about social commentary. It doesn't have to be that. A lot of times it is about the future and what future technologies may bring to society, how that impacts the societal fabric. There's a lot of fun things that you can do with science fiction. So I think making a blanket statement isn't a great idea. I think saying that science fiction is actually not about the future is not correct. But science fiction can be about anything related to science in a fictional construct that lets you forecast what can be that isn't now. And that's what makes it interesting, is how we get conversations started.
Now, Wizard, I need to check with you. Are you feeling a sudden urge to strangle Lauren?
No.
Okay.
No,
okay.
I'm good.
Hold for a minute, okay? We're going to listen to some more, and we're going to see if Lauren regrets those statements. Ready?
It is the prism through which we, the looking glass, the magnifying glass through which we examine ourselves, the state of humanity, who we are, what we're capable of, and where we're going. And it was such a powerful idea that it has lasted for 60 years because each iteration of Star Trek has been interpreted and reinterpreted by people who are so inspired by the message.
The message.
That's where he goes wrong. Okay.
The message.
Yeah, okay. So when it comes to Trek, I've always admired Star Trek and I was a mega fan of Star Trek before I swapped over to Star Wars. But I always thought that Roddenberry was kind of an idiot. He had a great vision for an idea of a show as a framework, but he's one of those guys that's utopianist.
Lauren, I just need to hold on a second. Wiz, are your hands in strangle formation yet? I need you to not go for this man. Quite, I mean, his jugular is soft and fleshy. Don't.
My fidget spinner is working overtime.
We're good here. Lauren, continue on.
I think his idea of Star Trek as a space western was a great idea, and especially when you're talking about the original series era, there were some real hard sci-fi writers that were tackling great big ethical questions. There's some of their time travel episodes in early Trek are some of the best science fiction writing I think's ever been done. Guardian at the Edge of Forever is a great example. But when Kurtzman goes and talks about the message with that capital T and capital M, that's where he goes completely off the track. And I think that Roddenberry had a tendency to do so as well. You can see that in the early seasons of The Next Generation before he kind of got sidelined a little bit. You've got to have a little bit more of a balanced view. And I think that's something that current Trek certainly does not have.
Wiz, you've been holding back. Hold back no more, sir.
Actually, Pro, I think I'm going to take this in a direction that you're not expecting. What Kurtzman has summarized here is why I think franchises like Star Trek, especially at this point in history, need to end. Because what's left at this point? Star Trek is a husk because of this man turning it into the message. Star Wars is wrecked. Doctor Who is wrecked. Disney franchises are wrecked. Warner Brothers properties are destroyed. They're coming for Lord of the Rings again very soon. The Peter Jackson.
Oh, yeah.
Doing more films there.
They're going to take down the Chronicles of Narnia. Yeah.
Narnia. Yeah. It's a modern twist with rock and roll for Narnia. Right. Yeah. That's fitting. I think, you hear that and it's like, oh, this is a place to put the message, and whether you want to interpret that, or there's some people in the comments that'll try and say, oh, that's not what he meant. That is exactly what he meant. That is exactly what he meant. He very much was meaning that in a political manner. It's time for these to go away. Everything is gone. Spider-Man, the comic books, Batman what are these worth anymore? If not paperweights, because these people have come in and destroyed them by putting themselves before the legacy, the original writer, and the audience. And so you look at something like you look at Starfleet Academy. I didn't watch Discovery, but I have been watching every episode of Starfleet Academy. And even as somebody that I know Lauren and probably everybody else here knows more about Star Trek than I do. I know enough to talk about it. I've watched plenty of Next Generation, but I'm not a diehard lore master. And you go into Starfleet Academy, and what you're gonna notice is that all the aliens and all the humans and all the characters all have the exact same moral framework. They're just slightly different. Aliens from different planets, all from across the galaxies. They're all over from different walks of life, all have the same morals. They're the same thing with a slightly different shade of gray. And at that point, that's Star Wars. That's every franchise I just named. All of them. They all came from Portland, even if they came from the stars. And at that point, they need to end. I think that's what they wanted to preach to us in 2017, December 17th, 2017. It's time for the Jedi to end. Well, now I think it is time for all of them to end. We are on the bleeding edge of technology, revolutionizing storytelling. There's going to be more people with the ability to tell stories, and I hope they do, and we should encourage them to do so. I'm so
absolutely
excited for what's on the horizon.
Steph, why did they desire to destroy the franchises instead of trying anything new? Why did they have to invade the space of what people already loved and change it and destroy it and leave it in rubble? What was the desire there?
Because they're complete narcissists, honestly. They think that they know better than the creators. They think that they can do better than the creators, when in actuality, they just can't. I think that when you started to create these morally gray characters, there's nowhere to go from there. And I think that like the wizard was correct. That everybody has the same morality, which is a lack of morality in my opinion, but everyone shares the same morality. And if they don't, like the new Klingon in Star Trek, if they grew up with a different one, then they just long to change it in order to belong to to this new group. They're rejecting what they grew up in order to have this new base morality that everyone else seems to have. So they're pretty much sending that message that the way you grow up is not the right way. We're going to show you the correct way. And it's just wild to me because a lot of things that we love about previous media is that you can have different types of moral codes. You can grow up differently. You can be thinking differently and still yet all get along. You all bring something different to the table. When everybody thinks the same, there's nothing in that. What is that? There's nothing in that. There's no way you can tell a great story when everyone is just like, oh, happy go lucky. And everybody shares that same evil morality. Like there's no good storytelling to be had there. Now, I'm not a big Star Trek fan. I don't really watch Star Trek. I have been trying to watch this new one, but
I'm so sorry.
It's a struggle session for me, honestly, because I didn't my dad watched it, but I never really sat down and watched it. So I didn't really watch a lot of it, but it's all been changing. They go in and they destroy all of these franchises. And a lot of times it's women doing it. Like it really is. It's women doing it. And I feel like it has to do with that hatred for men. Like I want to be a part of that because and I want to destroy it. Because in modern feminism, you just completely hate men. You want to destroy anything that they love and then rebuild it, but you really can't. You can't do that. You just can't. You can't do better than the original creators, the way other people have been writing it. You can't do it better.
The betification of entertainment. Andy, as we're watching this happen, and I think everybody's right here that we're at the edge of people just either taking these franchises and make them whatever they want, or making their own stuff and doing it the right way. Andy, I think that's the real Star Trek. I think the future is here. And so maybe it is time for Star Trek to end anyway, because we're catching up minus the spaceships. We're already getting to the point where we have a lot of stuff that they were imagining back in the 60s.
Well, where some see destruction, I see opportunity. Anyone who's familiar with like Haitian lore, you can have your own Alex Kurtzman voodoo doll.
Oh my God.
I'll take the opportunity. I will provide you with your Alex Kurtzman. You can do whatever you want with. You can act out those Klingon scenes with your Alex Kurtzman.
Oh! Man, Kurtzman, look out. Andy Masterson was ready for the finale there. Andy, I'm glad we saved you for the end because, boy, Kurtzman's going to have something to think about now.
No one needed that visual.
Well, after the way this thing's gone. We won't say any more. Richard, that one's for you. Folks, it's time to bid you adieu, but we hope that you will help us anew, and that is, we're only asking you click that like button. Share, subscribe, click it, stick it to those algorithms. It is the notification bell, and drop a comment down below. And oh, by the way, have you gone the way of thatparkplace.com? www.thatparkplace.com. It's the website that if you're not yet bookmarked to, well, you should be. A bastion of truth and knowledge when it comes to entertainment and everything that's going on. Go check it out today, folks. We would love to have you over there as well. All right, we are getting ready to head out, but do not fret, for we will put out 4 more videos tomorrow, so long as the good Lord allows. And we believe that probably, just might, happen. All right, until the next time we get to share time with you, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.